Hello and welcome to a recording for a presentation for the 31st Annual Distance Teaching and Learning Conference. And this presentation is about building the MiniStudio. On the screen you can see a QR code with my contact information. But the most important thing here to note is the URL here on screen. This is where you can find this video and updated handouts, and I'll repeat this slide at the end of the presentation. So my name is James Moore. Here's my contact information at DePaul University. So you've got my telephone number, my email address, and my web address. You can also find me by searching for James Moore and DePaul on search engines like Google. And an easy way to remember my name is to take the James from James Bond, combine that with the Moore from Roger Moore, and there you have James Moore. You can also find me on social media. So I work for DePaul Driehaus College of Business, and that is in the heart of Chicago, otherwise known as the Loop. By day, I'm the Director of Online Learning for DePaul University's Driehaus College of Business. By night, I teach internet marketing classes in fully online, blended and face-to-face formats. I also teach faculty effective ways to teach online, and I attempt to balance my love of technology and gadgets with the knowledge that quick and simple solutions are best. So we planned the MiniStudio with this scenario in mind. It's Monday morning and the telephone rings. A near frantic finance professor is on the line and tells me, "Help! I'm teaching 3 sections of Finance 798 this quarter, and my father is very ill. I'll be flying out to Australia tomorrow morning. There's nobody else who can teach this class. Is there any way we can film my lecture content?" So my view is if you can comfortably deal with the emergencies, then you can handle anything that comes your way. Now, filming a professor in the traditional classroom to deal with this type of emergency would be doing a disservice to the students, professor, and the institution. Lugging equipment to a classroom is a waste of resources. Filming in the classroom introduces too many opportunities for things to go wrong. We have imperfect sound, we have interruptions, we have awful lighting, we have broken equipment. The ideal solution is a studio where the professor can walk in, record superlative material, and then walk out ready to do battle with the day. However, universities and colleges have limited resources. Studios are expensive. We managed to build a MiniStudio for less than $7,000 in an unused room. Our MiniStudio soon became a much requested resource where we could swiftly create high quality content for our faculty. Having limited resources, we didn't spend the money sight unseen. We iterated our choices and experimented with borrowed equipment at limited trials. But the goal we were going for was same-day delivery. We wanted something where faculty could walk in and walk out with something that they could use in their courses. And in complete honesty, we view what we have as an ongoing process of refinement. There are things we did well, and we see plenty of opportunity for improvement. Now, I said we had limited resources. This isn't the actual room that we used, but this sort of conveys the right impression. The room that we used was essentially an old filing room that we were able to convert into our MiniStudio. So let's start by running through how we help our near-frantic professor. Ideally, we get them into the MiniStudio as quickly as possible and give them a 10-minute overview of how things might work. Here we suggest best practices, as well as eliciting the preferred teaching style of our professor. In some cases, we're ready to record immediately, but ideally the professor revises material based upon our recommendations. At this point, we typically focus on 2 pieces of software. Open-Sankoré, which is a free and open source whiteboard software, which allows a presenter to annotate a sequence of pages. We chose Open-Sankoré because it pushes the presenter into assembling material from multiple sources. So this might be PowerPoint, PDF, websites, and images, rather than viewing PowerPoint as the way to teach. And our goal here is faculty view primary resources as critical elements of their teaching, and annotation as the way to help students understanding concepts. And then we have ScreenFlow. It's a screencasting tool that allows for the recording, editing, and conversion of anything displayed on a computer screen. We chose ScreenFlow due to its robust and flexible recording capability, along with its streamlined editing environment. We found it very easy to train student workers to edit and produce as well. So we began by showing presenters how the recording process works. In earlier tests, we soon learned that automation was not always a good thing. Having a prominent button for faculty to start, pause, and stop a recording sometimes resulted in overeager professors forgetting to start recording, or pausing and never remembering to continue recording as they lectured. Instead, we start the recording on their behalf. We edit out dead air at the start and end of the recording, and that's preferable to asking faculty to remember to record. Our MiniStudio has a webcam on an adjustable height microphone, and that's facing the presenter at about eye level, over here. This is placed in front of a monitor that displays mirrored content that's going to be recorded. And our presenter sits on an adjustable height stool with back and footrest. Achieving the right height for all of these items allows for appropriate posture during the recording process, and that's important for the webcam video at the start, and improves vocals by not compressing the diaphragm. In the room, the presenter sees those two screens. So one is the Wacom Cintiq, where the presenter has full access to controls and tools. This is where they annotate content. The second screen is a conventional monitor, and this is where content is projected in an abstracted view. So basically the tools that the presenter sees are hidden, and this is what we record. And the view to the presenter looks a little bit like this. As you can see again, this is the Wacom that the presenter is going to be annotating. Up here is the webcam. Over here is the monitor that we're recording. Webcam is fairly prosaic, nothing too complicated here. And behind that we have a backdrop. So the room, as I said, is professionally lit. We share with our faculty that this lighting and backdrop will make them look better. However, our intention is not to have the presenter as a talking head for the entirety of the video. What we do is we coach them into looking at the screen and doing that at the beginning of the recording, maintaining eye contact and introducing themselves and the topic that they're going to speak about before moving through the lecture material. Once they actually start teaching, their actions as they look at notes, they move around, they focus on their annotation, becomes a distraction to the students. So that's something that we edit out. We leave the webcam to record in all sessions, but as I say, we edit out anything that we think is not appropriate to share with the students. This is also an opportunity for us to crop the webcam video if our presenter has moved to one side of the frame. And what we have in terms of backdrop here is kind of ugly to see in reality, but when we film, it looks a little bit more professional. The microphone in the room is a Snowball with pop filter and shock mount. We use baffles in the room to improve sound quality. Spotlights in the room improve lighting and make the presenter look a little bit more human on the screen. And we use the traditional three-part lighting system. So we have our backlight, our key light, presenter in the middle, and our fill light. So in front of the presenter we have our camera, and nothing too complicated here. We briefly run through the tools that we want the faculty to use in Open-Sankore, and then we switch on ScreenFlow to record. Now the tools that we focus on in Open-Sankore are not the complete set of tools. So on screen here, you can see the two tool interfaces that the presenter has in front of them. But what we want them to do is to focus on the most productive tools. So these are a pen, which allows them to annotate on the screen. And they can use 4 colors here. So you can see these 4 colors at the bottom of the screen that they can choose. They can also change the thickness of line that they use here. So this gives them the ability to write in a slightly sort of chunkier fashion if they wish. They have an eraser, and the eraser can be used to get rid of any sort of annotation that they put on the screen. They also have a highlighter, so they can highlight in a choice of 4 colors again. And we have a laser pointer, so this allows us to show focus as we move through the content on the screen. There's also the ability to undo and redo, so we can jump back various stages if somebody makes a slight mistake, or they can bring that back on screen. Pages is the ability to insert a page in the middle of the recording. So this deals with situations where somebody might have a sudden moment of genius where they want to show something that they hadn't prepared for. The previous and next buttons allow us to navigate through prepared material. So again, this doesn't need to be PowerPoint or Keynote. This can be PDF pages, Word documents, images, pictures from a website, anything that the professor, the presenter, has assembled. There's also a erase button which will get rid of everything on screen. So those are sort of the tools that we want them to focus on as they present. As I say, there are more tools provided by Open-Sankore, but we view those additional ones as more of a distraction. So after demonstrating the tools and letting our faculty experiment, we stop recording with ScreenFlow and quickly show the basic editing environment to our presenter. We can crop out and fade the presenter, deleting any dead air at the start and the end. And this provides the presenter with a firm appreciation of what their recordings will be like. So this way, as they leave the room, they're fairly confident that what they've created that day is something that is professional. But we have some edge cases. Approximately 80% of the faculty we work with see the advantages of our process, but some have particular needs that change the workflow. So some need to present using PowerPoint due to reliance on transitions and animations, which we lose in Open-Sankore. We can easily adapt to this, so the Webcam Cintiq can be used to annotate slides, but the option and ease of use don't really compare well with Open-Sankore. Some faculty we work with need to demonstrate Windows software, and in those cases we simply record via ScreenFlow from either a virtualized version of Windows or remotely connect to another PC on campus. So we've been using the MiniStudio to record material for classes here at DePaul for 10 months or so, and we've learned much from the process. So here are some of the key learning experiences to share. So the first is the importance of backups. We updated our Mac Pro to OS X Yosemite and soon learned that Open-Sankore was not compatible. It crashed immediately when we ran it. We're able to overcome this issue by rolling back to an earlier version of OS X. Although we could have used OpenBoard. This is a forked version of Open-Sankore that runs on Yosemite. So having regular backups of the operating system allows for the more rapid recovery in these instances. And then there's redundancy. When recording, we save the ScreenFlow files directly to the Mac Pro's hard drive, and then we move these to external media. This is the RAID array that you see on screen for editing. The levels of redundancy protected us from the very rare instances where something horrible might happen. So we didn't want files to be deleted by a human accidentally, or for the system to crash and for us to not recover those files. So we've built in multiple levels of redundancy. And then we have human intervention. Our process involved recording faculty in a private room with a staff member on hand in an adjacent area. That staff member would be at their desk working on video projects, but was available to be interrupted and to assist faculty. We dumbed down the recording process such that the staff member started and ended each recording session. So while sounding trivial, this greatly reduced the number of accidents where we had faculty forgetting to record or exiting ScreenFlow without saving. And this provided faculty with a perfect balance of privacy and knowledge that help was on hand. And then we have scheduling. At DePaul, we're lucky to have a unified communication system, Outlook, which we use to schedule the studio. This also allowed faculty to check availability outside normal office hours via Busy Search. When booking the room, we learned to follow the practice employed by dentists everywhere of a courtesy call the day beforehand, along with a reminder email that gave detailed instructions on the filming process and how to find the studio. This resulted in fewer cancellations and delayed arrivals. And then we had quick rather than perfect. The suggestion that we gave our faculty was that they should talk through the occasional mistake rather than rely on editing to remove imperfections. Students weren't interested in perfection, but rather rapid feedback and relevant, timely video content. By simplifying the recording and editing process, we're able to have videos in our learning management system that day or the next morning. So what we want here is for faculty to try and move away from just using PowerPoint and thinking more creatively about providing content. And our advice of Richard Mayer is what we strive for here. So he put together 12 principles of effective video. And these are fairly well known within academia, but what we've found is by using this setup for the MiniStudio, we're able to push several of these principles. So the 12 principles are coherence, signaling, redundancy, spatial, contiguity, temporal, contiguity, segmenting, pre-training, modality, personalization, voice, embodiment, and image. You can't quite catch all of these through the use of the MiniStudio, but we're able to catch the majority, and we see that sort of pushing our faculty into better presentations and better feedback to students. What we're seeing is because we can use the room more readily with faculty, because we can create content quickly that day or the next morning, faculty are using this as a tool to provide feedback to their students. And where it works very well is where they'll come in and they'll annotate a document. They'll start to write equations on screen to their students that is giving them non-ambiguous content, ways that students can see exactly what their professor is looking for. But there are improvements that we're thinking of implementing. A simple one would be actually changing the desk that we use in the room to make this a stand-up height adjustable desk. So we have some faculty who don't feel comfortable sitting down, tethered in front of a machine, who want to be able to stand, to lean on something. So that's a simple one. But for those of you who are interested in using what we've done here within your institution, on screen you can see the inventory. So this is available on my website in a slightly more usable fashion. You'll see that everything that is on screen on my website is available as a clickable link to places on the web where you can either purchase that equipment or find out more information. So if you want to find that resource, the place that you want to go to is condor.depaul.edu/jmore/DEPD31. And feel free to ask me questions if you have them. I look forward to answering anything that comes my way. And I hope this has been of value to you.